Bonjour, y'all. This is Ms. May with French 3 Honors. I'm making a recording of a live lesson that I was not able to do on Wednesday, September 16th, because I was in the middle of Hurricane Sally. So, what I'm going to try to do is just hit the main points. It may be a little rough, but I think I'd like to go over with you all what to expect on the DBA. And then we're going to go over about the form and the use of the conditional tense and the futur simple, two verb tenses that we go over in this lesson. So let's forge ahead. Now, you can see I had some other things planned for the lesson, which was some pronunciation, but we'll do that the next time. One thing we need to go over is the DBA. Your first DBA, which covers material from lessons 1 through 4, okay? You'll have some questions from each lesson. Questions will be both in French and English. What you should do is open your vocabulary list for each lesson. Or maybe I would say right now, open them and print out that PDF so you'll have it. Book a day and time for your DBA. They will be done in the personal Zoom room, and be sure that you're at your computer so you can open your vocabulary list for each lesson. So, what are we going to do? You need to know how to introduce yourselves, converse in French about towns, advantages and disadvantages of small and large towns. The longest section is on Leçon 3, Lesson 3. It talks about how to use the imparfait and the passé composé to describe the past. You'll need to know how to form these two verb tenses and how to use them. We'll also use some slang. Then I'll ask you to converse in French about what you would like to study or what would you like to do for a profession. That's from lesson 4. And you'll be using the futur simple and the conditional, which we're going to go over here. Don't worry about making comparisons about the way that we work in France and the way we work in the US because that link was out. Um, we're going to skip over that for now and do it later. Okay, so let's launch into module 4. Okay, one thing that they emphasized was understanding differences between the French and the American school system. Okay? Students in France, they're obliged, it's required that they go to school for the first 16 years until they're 16. Um, they start in the école maternelle and then they go to the école élémentaire, and you'll look at their first grade is the 11th grade for us, not in content, just in the way that it's done, the way that it's organized. So they actually go those 12 years in high school, but they start with 11 and go down to 1 and then terminale, or the last grade, whereas we start with 1 and go to 12. So élémentaire. After that, they have collège, which doesn't mean college, it means middle school. And at the end of collège, they take an exam, which is a national brevet. They can decide there if they want to go on to the lycée, which is high school, and have a more liberal arts education, or if they want to branch off and go to technical school, which is a very rigorous technical training, and they'll get out and go to work at the end of their training there. When they enter high school at the lycée, that's where they choose liberal arts, a path that goes to university, or if they're going to go to technical school. Both are very rigorous training. At the end of the 12th grade, which is the last grade, terminale, they go seconde, which is our 10th grade, première, which is our 11th grade, and then terminale, which is our 12th grade. They take a very rigorous exam called le baccalauréat. It has a focus on different areas, whether you do sciences or literature or history, whatever, but it's going to test all the subject areas, and you have to pass it if you're going to go on to university. It's a very different kind of a system than ours. Okay. This was where I put a few slides about the difference in the world of work, and I will copy this slide and link it to the announcement page if you want to see about professions and maybe go over your video for professions. Okay. So, but the main things that I wanted us to go over were a bit of grammar. We had two new verb tenses. They're actually moods. The mood and the tense. The mood is your attitude. The tense is the time. So, voudrais, as I have in the example here, qu'est-ce que tu voudrais faire dans la vie? Voudrais is the conditional mood in the present tense of the verb vouloir, which is to want. It's always irregular. The stem of it in the conditional is voudr. So let's look at some more regular forms of le présent du conditionnel. Vouloir is irregular. How do we do the present? Okay, so as you can see here, what's a conditional? It can be used in French as a tense and a mood. As a tense, it expresses the future seen from a past point of view. Okay? As a mood, it allows us to talk about hypothetical or imagined reality. What the heck does that mean? So here in the picture, you see a student daydreaming at his desk, and he says, J'aimerais être en vacances. Oh man, I would like to be in vacation. A wish, hypotheses. L'année dernière, last year, je pensais que je partirais en Afrique. I was thinking that I would go to Africa. That's what he was thinking last year. Last year, he said, I will go to Africa. But now, he evidently didn't get to go. He's looking at that future thought from now in the past. I thought that I would go to Africa. Si je partais pour les Caraïbes, je pourrais aller à la plage tous les jours. If I were to go to the Caribbean, I would go to the beach every day. Here's another wish, a hypothesis. Then the teacher says, Michel, est-ce que tu pourrais venir au tableau? Michel, could you or would you come to the board? He's asking a polite request. So we have in this little example all the different uses of the conditionnel. All right. We'll go over that again later in just a few minutes. How do we conjugate the conditional in French? Well, we form the conditional present by adding the endings that we use for the imparfait to the infinitive form of the verb. So, aimer, we have the infinitive here, and then we go j'aimerais. That is the first person singular je form of the conditional, but we put it onto the infinitive j'aimerais, and it goes on through. The same thing with finir and vendre. Vendre ends in RE. We drop that E. Je finirai, je vendrai, tu aimerais, tu finirais, tu vendrais, etc. Okay, we're going to look over that, and I'll put up some links for you guys to practice. Okay, now, these are the irregular verbs in the conditional tense. Irregular meaning that their stem is irregular, but their endings are still the same endings you use for the conditional. I have a link to some practice exercises. What I'll do is I'll put these slides up on the announcement page, and you guys can go in and click and see all these and review. When do I use the conditional? To express a wish. Manger une bonne pizza à midi. I would love to eat a good pizza for lunch today. I would love, but maybe not going to happen. In our example with Michel, Michel aimerait être en vacances. He would like to be on vacation, but he's in school. As a tense, to talk about the future from a past point of view, I would say, last Sunday, dimanche, je pensais que je finirais la leçon pour French 3 honors. Last Sunday, I was thinking that I would finish French 3 honors, but I didn't finish the lesson. Okay. And this, I've highlighted it in yellow because it's an if clause. These si clauses are used a lot in French, and this one's really common. It's what you would do if, okay? Si j'avais le temps, j'irais à la plage aujourd'hui. If I had the time, in the imperfect here, okay? If I had the time, what? I would go to the beach, conditional. But it's hypothetical. I don't have the time, so I ain't going to the beach. If I had the time, I would. And in your example with Michel, s'il partait pour les Caraïbes, if he were leaving for the Caribbean, Il pourrait aller. He would be able to go to the beach every day. We also use it for polite request. Qui pourrait prendre le microphone? As I would say, who would take the microphone, please? And the teacher says to Michel, est-ce que tu pourrais venir au tableau? Would you be able to come to the tableau, to the tableau, to the blackboard? And then I had us doing some conversation, which we'll do later. But now we're going to jump onto the future. The future what? C'est simple. It's the future simple. And I have some examples. Dans l'avenir, in the future, je serai écrivain. Je voyagerai. Ma famille et moi, nous habiterons à New York. Nous aurons un bel appartement. Mon mari sera médecin. Mes enfants iront à de grandes universités. The future simple is very similar in form to the conditional. It's infinitive plus the endings that are specific to the future, but it talks about what you will do, okay? In the future, I will or I shall be a writer. I will travel. I will live in New York. My family and I, we will have a beautiful apartment. My husband will be a doctor. My children will go to the Ivy League schools. Great, huh? So what do we see in the French and the English forms? Well, the French form is a one-chunker, okay? Je serai, excuse me. And the English is a two-chunker, auxiliary verb and our other verb. I will travel, I will live, we will be. And the French is just one form. Okay, so how do we conjugate it? Really simple. Really similar to the conditional. We take the infinitive and add the endings. Here they are. J'aimerais, I will like. Tu aimeras, you will like. Je finirai, I will finish. Nous vendrons, we will sell. And again with the RE verbs, the E drops off. And I'll put these slides so you can look at them. And the irregular verbs in the future simple, here's the list. And the stems are the same as for the conditional, so you don't have to learn anything new. When do we use the future simple? To talk about your future intentions. Demain, je rangerai les dossiers. We see this person with files. Tomorrow, I'm determined, I will organize my files, okay? Tu ne finiras jamais en journée. You will never finish in a day. I say, I'm thinking about the future going, hey, you have so many files, you'll never finish in a day. And to make conditional sentences, another kind of C sentences, si on range à deux, on finira plus vite. If both of us arrange the files, we will finish quicker, okay? So this is a more possible event than a hypothetical. It's not like the futur proche, which you learned, which has the verb aller. Christine va partir dans 2 secondes. There she is grabbing her purse over here, okay? She says she's going to leave. She's going to go to the supermarket. And those are the immediate ones that's going to. But this is a more determined, more set futur simple or type of the future. I will do this, determined. I will do that. And more distant. It's also a bit more formal. I had us doing some conversation here, which we can do in our next live lesson. But for now, I'm going to end with a joke. Joke of the week. What do you call a Frenchman in sandals? Philippe Fallope. That was a quick review. I hope you found it useful. I'm going to post it on the announcement page along with the slides and jump in and give it a shot. Look it over. Merci beaucoup. Au revoir. Bye-bye.